Welcome to the Zone Perfect Lifestyle. In this presentation, you will see how the Zone Nutrition Program blends a healthy diet with reasonable physical activity to dramatically increase your energy, improve mental alertness, and provide healthy weight control. You will learn how the four components of the Zone Nutrition Program, adoption of the Zone diet, exclusive use of olive oil for all cooking needs, omega-3 fish oil supplementation, and moderate exercise all combine to create a Zone Perfect lifestyle. Let's get started.
Hello, my name is Dr. Paul Kahl, and I am Medical Director for Icotech, the nutrition and wellness company founded by Dr. Barry Sears. His works, The Zone and Mastering the Zone, have become the best-selling books on nutrition and diet over the last 5 years. Everywhere you turn today, you hear of someone's success using the remarkable Zone Nutrition Program. You may have seen a friend recently who looked absolutely terrific. When you asked what had changed him or her, they respond proudly, "I'm in the zone." Thousands of individuals, from professional and college athletes to cardiac and diabetic patients to people like you and me, have had terrific results with the Zone Nutrition Program. You can expect to as well. But you may have also heard that the Zone program was complicated, that it required constant measuring and calculations. I'm going to show you why that notion is absolutely, positively not true. Improved mental alertness, healthy weight control, and a life full of energy are just a few of the benefits of the Zone Nutrition Program. Please give me just 45 minutes and these benefits can be yours. I'll demonstrate a simple, incredibly easy, and fun method which is guaranteed to get you into the zone with each and every meal. Isn't your health and that of your family and your future health worth the next 45 minutes? If you answered yes, then let's go. How you look, think, and feel depends to a great extent on what you eat, how you eat, and the quality of food you eat. Doesn't that make perfect sense? Every day we face the stresses of modern living. You have to fight traffic. You have to fight for a raise. You shouldn't have to fight your diet. Staying alert, mentally focused, and constantly maintaining a proper, healthy weight are the objectives of the Zone Nutrition Program. The Zone Nutrition Program teaches you the power of food. We believe food is the most powerful drug you put into your mouth. By simply understanding how your body biochemically reacts to the way you eat, you can control and harness this power. First, let's start with what you eat. All food, that is, everything you eat, is classified as either a protein, a fat, or a carbohydrate. These are known as macronutrients. All food is either made up of one of these macronutrients or some combination of the three. To understand the Zone program, you must be clear about these three classes of food. Let's start with protein. Protein comes from things that grow and move around. That includes beef, chicken, turkey, pork, and fish. It also includes things that come from animals, such as cheese and eggs and milk. The only exception to this rule is soy protein. This comes from plants specifically designed to have a high protein content. You probably know this as tofu. The second component of food is dietary fat. Most people recognize fat since we, as a society, have become fat-phobic. There are many types of fat, and we will discuss that later. For the time being, simply know that fats come either from animals or plants. When fats from plants are processed, they are commonly called oils. The third macronutrient category of food is carbohydrates. This is by far the most diverse and largest of the three, and the most misunderstood. When I ask people during my lectures, what's a carbohydrate? Many people will answer, a bagel or pasta, which is true. Bagels and pastas are processed carbohydrates, products which are derived from simpler forms of carbohydrates, which in this case are grains. But when I ask people, what is broccoli? Most people respond, a vegetable. Also true, but when they are prompted further, they often do not make the connection that all vegetables are also carbohydrates. The same thing happens when I ask about apples, peaches, or pears. Why, they're fruits. Once again true, but all fruits also belong to the carbohydrate class. An easy rule to remember is that carbohydrates grow in the ground and they remain planted there. That is, they don't move around. beef, chicken, fish contain no carbohydrates. What makes the group so diverse is that there are natural carbohydrates that the food industry doesn't change, such as fresh fruits and vegetables. And then there are processed or refined carbohydrates that are manufactured by the food industry. These manufactured items include bread, pasta, bagels, puffed rice cakes, and most breakfast cereals. They are made from things that grow in the ground, mostly crops such as wheat, oats, and corn. You've never seen a bagel or pasta bush, have you? But the most important point about carbohydrates is that no matter what form they take, they are all composed of sugar. This is critical to know, so let me repeat it again slowly. All carbohydrates are composed of sugar. That's right. Once eaten, your body breaks carbohydrates down into sugar, which then go into your blood system. Some carbohydrates, especially commercially produced carbohydrates, contain a lot more sugar than others. This is one of the essential nutrition points of the Zone Nutrition program. By paying careful attention to the amount of sugar consumed in your meals and snacks, you can easily control the way your body reacts and feels. Once again, let me repeat this important premise. By paying careful attention to the amount of sugar consumed in your meals and snacks, you can easily control the way your body reacts and feels. Now that we've defined the three essential components of all food, protein, fat, and carbohydrates, we can learn the few basic rules to get you easily and quickly into the zone. Now remember, the zone is a period of time after eating when you are alert, thinking clearly, and full of energy. By applying these simple rules, this 4 to 6 hour period is easy to reach. So now, let's go into the kitchen and I'll show you exactly how easy it is. Our best reference guide is the simplest and most readily available. Our hand. All of the following zone rules are based on using various parts of your own hand. In the Zone Nutrition program, each meal or snack must balance all three distinct components of food: protein, carbohydrates, and dietary fat. Using your hand lets you determine the amounts you will need. Remember, the presence and proper amount of each of these three macronutrients in each meal or snack is the key to the Zone Nutrition program. It's that simple. All meals must start with protein. Without protein, you can't have a Zone meal. To determine the amount of protein in your meal, simply look at the palm of your hand. The size and thickness of your palm should be equal to the size and thickness of your protein source. For example, if you'd like a chicken breast, simply approximate the portion size by comparing it to your palm. Hand size approximates body size, and a bigger person requires more protein. Their bigger hand assures that they get the additional protein they need. Protein is absolutely vital to your health. The correct amount is needed for proper growth and repair of your muscles and tendons. Even worse, without protein, your immune system falters badly. All red and white blood cells depend on it. In fact, there are certain proteins that are essential to life. Since your body can't make them, you must eat them to live. The next component of your Zone meal is carbohydrate. The amount of carbohydrate you get with your Zone meal depends on its available sugar content. The Zone Nutrition program divides carbohydrates into more favorable and less favorable. The more favorable carbohydrates, such as green beans, broccoli, and cauliflower, tend to have less sugar and more fiber. The small amount of sugar gets absorbed slowly into your system due to the high fiber content of the vegetables. Choosing more favorable carbohydrates like green beans and yellow squash allow you 2 large, loose fistfuls of food. Less favorable carbohydrates, as we discussed earlier, tend to be manufactured ones such as cereals and pasta. These carbohydrates contain little fiber and a tremendous amount of sugar packed into a very small volume. Without the fiber to slow absorption and combined with the ease of overconsumption, these products tend to dump large quantities of sugar quickly into the bloodstream. For example, 1 cup of pasta contains about 1 cup of sugar, whereas you'd have to eat 14 cups of cauliflower to equal that amount. Therefore, the type of carbohydrate you choose determines its volume amount. Let's go back to our hand. If you choose a less favorable carbohydrate for your meal, like potatoes or pasta, You get only one tight fist worth. It's your choice. Although the volume amounts differ, you wind up with the same correct amount of sugar in your meal. And with all zone meals, a simple side salad is considered a zone freebie. It's not counted when tallying up your carbohydrates. Finally, the third component needed in your zone meal is dietary fat. It is unfortunate that the word fat is associated with both a food group and someone who is physically overweight. This sets up the mistaken belief that eating fat makes you fat. Perhaps if dietary fat went by the more correct name lipids, it might not have gotten such a bad reputation. Let me reassure you, dietary fat, when eaten in the proper amount, will not make you fat. In fact, like protein, there are essential fats that one must eat in order to thrive. This is not true for any carbohydrates. The fat we eat plays a key role in a zone meal. First, it slows the absorption of the meal, so you don't dump a lot of sugar into your bloodstream at one time. Second, it signals the brain to stop eating. That is, it tells us when we are full. The amount of fat added to a zone meal, though, is not large. Most of the fat is contained in your protein source. Even skinless white chicken meat contains a good amount of fat. To gauge the extra amount needed, use about a thumbnail's worth. That's about a teaspoon of olive oil or a small slice of butter. Let's do this again using fish as our protein source. This time, though, I'd like to show you a typical size meal for a man and a typical size meal for a woman. Notice that both the protein and the carbohydrate portions are less in the woman's meal due to the smaller size of the average woman's hand. Finally, I'd like to show you a typical meal for a man using two unfavorable carbohydrates. In this case, you get about a half a fist worth each. Perhaps the easiest thing to prepare using the hand method are hamburgers. Just take a good amount of meat, shape it into a patty that's equal to the size and thickness of the palm of your hand. Combine it with a hamburger bun, which would be your carbohydrate source, or any combination of vegetables, and you have a perfect zone meal. Do any of these meals look like diet food? By following these simple rules, you will end up with a well-balanced zone meal. I still use this hand system both at home and whenever I eat out. It has served me well for over 7 years. Of course, if your busy schedule doesn't allow time for meal preparation, you can always choose one of the Zone Perfect meals. Ready in less than 2 minutes, they are in the perfect protein, carbohydrate, and fat ratio.
Balancing carbohydrates, protein, and fats in your own kitchen is easy. But what about eating out? Close to 50% of all meals are now eaten outside of the home. So we've developed several guidelines to help you dine out in the zone. Dr. Call explains.
Hi, we'd like a table for 3.
We can seat you, but it's going to be about a 20-minute wait.
Okay. One of the keys for successfully dining in the zone is don't plan to arrive at the restaurant at the end of your 5-hour period. If the restaurant's halfway decent, or it's a busy weekend night, there's going to be that inevitable delay. Therefore, by the time they sit you at the table and bring the food to the table, you're going to be starving, and you're going to be very tempted to eat those unfavorable carbohydrates. So one of the secrets is, about an hour before you plan to arrive at the restaurant, have a 1-block zone snack or half of a zone bar. That way you'll have that extra cushion to keep you in the zone while you're waiting for your table. Okay? Thank you. Now, one of the first traps we need to avoid when dining out in the zone is not to waste all our carbohydrate allotment on the bread and rolls, which almost every restaurant in America places in front of you when you order your drinks. So when she comes, rather than be tempted to nibble on them, I would just say, please, take them away from the table. Now, if you're the type of person that has to have something in front of them while you're waiting for your main course to be cooked, then feel free to order your side salad with a little dressing on the side. And of course, we allow 1 glass of wine in the zone, so don't be inhibited by that.
I brought you some rolls.
Well, thank you, but we won't be eating any rolls with dinner, so could you please take them off the table, please?
Sure. Would any of you like to order a cocktail?
Yes, I'd like a glass of the house red wine, please. Could I please have a glass of the house white? And could I please have a side salad? And could I have that with blue cheese on the side? And could I please have that with my wine?
Sure.
Thank you.
And I'll have a glass of the house white, please.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay, well, the next step in having a successful zone meal outside the house is finding an appropriate protein source from the menu. Remember, you can't have a zone meal without protein. So let's see if they've got a good source on the menu tonight. Now, the best source of protein by far is fish, so let's look for fish. And we're in luck. They have salmon on the menu. Not only is salmon a good protein source, but it's also a good source of those omega-3 fish oils that are so beneficial in the zone program. So why don't we agree on ordering salmon, and then I'll teach you another trick. We'll ask what the salmon comes with, and it usually comes with 2 different side dishes, and we'll see if we can make them into a good source of carbohydrates. Does that sound good?
Thanks. Good.
Hey, you ready to order?
Yes, we are, and I think we're going to make your life easy. We're all going to have the salmon. Could you tell us what it comes with?
It comes with broccoli and pasta.
Could you do us a favor? Could you eliminate the pasta and double up on the broccoli, please? Thanks. Thank you. Wow, this does look good. And boy, is this restaurant generous with their protein sauce. Well, the next step is to determine how much protein we need to eat to make this a good zone meal. Now, remember the eyeball method we talked about in the first lesson? It's going to serve you well every time you eat out. So let's look at the palm of our hands, since that determines the size of the protein. As you can see, they gave us a lot of salmon here. In fact, I can eliminate half my salmon and still meet my protein requirements. So why don't you match up your palm with the correct amount of protein, and then here's the other trick. We'll cut away what we don't need, and we'll actually ask the waitress to take it away and save it for us when we're done eating. This way, we won't be tempted to nibble at it in case one of us finishes early. Okay? Great. Let me see if I can get her attention. Oh.
Is there something else I can bring you?
Actually, you can actually take something away for us. There's nothing wrong with the salmon. It's just there's a lot here. Could you take this and hold it for us, and then we'll take it home when we're done eating? Great. Thank you very much. Well, now, look at our plates. This looks like a pretty good zone meal. Should we begin? Great. Well, that was a pretty good meal. So what do you think about dessert? Well, if you truly came to the restaurant for dessert, you've got to save up some carbohydrate blocks, right? So let's take a rough guess of how many we had with this meal. Well, we had a glass of wine, so that's 1 block, and we had no bread, which was great, and we had some broccoli, but that wasn't even 2 fists worth, so that wasn't quite half a block. So for you ladies who are on 3-block meals, you actually get to have another 1.5 blocks to 2 blocks worth of carbohydrates. And me, because I'm on a 4-block meal, get 2 more blocks. So that actually allows us to have some dessert. But be warned here, the best dessert is fresh fruit. You know that. You can actually have a whole bowl of fruit, and it's only about 1 block of carbohydrate. Now, if you want one of the more tempting desserts, you're not going to be able to have the whole dessert, because the average dessert that a restaurant in America serves is 6 blocks. So I know the waitress may think we're cheap, but we're going to have to decide on which one we're going to share, because you can't have the whole dessert, okay? Because you're only allowed 2 more additional blocks. So let's see what they have to offer here.
Would any of you care for dessert?
Well, let's take a look here. Well, we are in luck. They have fresh fruit, a cup of fresh fruit, and it looks like key lime pie, right? And some chocolate cake. Well, it's easy for me because I don't like the sweet stuff, so I'll have the 1 block worth of fresh fruit in the cup of fresh fruit. And what are you ladies going to have?
Dining out in the zone is not only enjoyable, it's easy. You can still enjoy many of the foods you're used to having, including dessert. By the way, Dr. Call had the fresh fruit, the women split the chocolate cake, and everyone remained in the zone. Now let's see how to get into the zone when eating at fast food restaurants.
Fast food restaurants are part of our daily lives. They are everywhere and very convenient. Many people think they also share responsibility for the decline in quality of American eating habits. While I agree with some of those criticisms, I'd like to show you that even in fast food restaurants, you can stay in the zone and still get a fairly healthy meal. I'll start with me as an example. I was pushing 195 pounds, and my waist size had grown from 31 inches to 34 inches, and even these were getting tight. I started using the Zone nutrition bars for my snacks and breakfast, and because of time constraints, used mostly fast food for my other meals. I chose items that were Zone favorable, for the most part grilled chicken sandwiches. Within 4 months, my weight plummeted down to 165 pounds, and I'd lost over 10% of my body fat. I felt terrific and had boundless energy. Now this is a dramatic example, but one that illustrates that yes, even with fast food, you can be in the zone. The key to zone fast food success is knowing what to choose and, more importantly, what to avoid. Most drive-through fast food restaurants have just about the same menus with occasional variations, but the same basic items are universally present. Let's go through the zone fast food do's and don'ts. As with all zone meals, you must start with protein. The best choice is the grilled chicken. First, it avoids the fate of many other food items, the deep fat fryer. Not only does this cooking process add excessive amounts of fat, but the oils often have some degree of rancidity due to the high cooking temperatures and exposure to the air. The second reason to choose the chicken is that it has much less internal fat than the beef hamburgers. Of course, these benefits are lost if you select the deep-fried chicken sandwiches. Now, fish is usually an excellent zone food choice. However, in fast food restaurants, fish is inevitably deep-fried, negating its desirable properties as a protein source. Beef, especially if it is grilled, may be ordered occasionally. Grilling allows some of the excessive fat common in ground beef to drip away. But in general, it's best to stick with the grilled chicken. Carbohydrates are next when constructing any zone meal. Since these are fast food restaurants, 9 out of 10 times your protein source comes sandwiched between 2 slices of a bun. This unfortunately becomes your carbohydrate source. The reason I say unfortunately is that most buns are made from bleached white flour, one of the worst processed carbohydrates. Packed with sugar and almost devoid of vitamins and minerals, it's simply a cheap way for restaurants to provide you with a quick meal. In spite of this, the grilled chicken sandwich is still an almost perfect balance of protein to carbohydrate, needed to get you into the zone. So as with all things in life, it's a reasonable compromise. A better choice would be the grilled chicken salad offered by many of these restaurants. Since the salad provides only a small amount of carbohydrates, you get to eat a piece of fruit in addition to the salad. This really is an excellent meal as far as the zone is concerned. Now what about French fries with your meals? I think you already know the answer. Potatoes are very dense carbohydrates traditionally referred to as starches. Starches are another way to describe foods densely packed with sugar. As you know, controlling the amount of sugar consumed at any time is one of the essential parts of the Zone nutrition program. Even a small order of French fries contains excessive amounts of sugar. Imagine what the jumbo size contains, since it is traditionally 2 to 3 times larger. In addition, fries are loaded with fatty oil from the deep fryers. You would be amazed at how much partially hydrogenated oil is in just one serving of fries. For these 2 reasons, French fries must be avoided when eating at these establishments. When ordering drinks, stick with the diet sodas, or even better yet, order water. It saves money and you avoid the caffeine present in diet sodas. Side salads are offered at all these restaurants. These are zone freebies and can be consumed at every meal. What is not a freebie is the salad dressing. You can have about 1 tablespoon on your salad, but first check the label for any partially hydrogenated oils.
So, now you have a good zone fast food meal. Start with a grilled chicken sandwich and a side salad with a little dressing. Have either a diet soda or water. You can enjoy this meal without guilt, and you'll continue to reap the benefits of being in the zone. Healthy weight control, good mental focus, and consistent energy.
In addition to helping balance food proportions, your hand does 2 more things. Your 5 fingers remind you to eat 5 times a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 snacks. This is an important part of the Zone program. Zone meals are designed to eliminate hunger and supply you with a steady stream of energy for about 5 hours. So, this is the second thing your fingers remind you to do. Never let more than 5 hours go by without eating a Zone meal or snack. Zone Perfect bars provide you with a convenient tool to experience what it is like to be in the zone after a proper meal. The Zone Perfect bars are designed to provide you with a ready-to-eat, easy-to-use snack or meal. They are already in the proper ratio of protein to carbohydrate to fat and are the only nutrition bars containing essential omega-3 oils. And they taste good too. Of all your meals, breakfast is by far the most important meal of the day. You have been fasting overnight and now must start your body clock running properly. If you are not accustomed to having breakfast, or you are pressed for time, your best plan is to eat one Zone Perfect bar within 1 hour of getting up. For your 2 snacks, use the Zone bars also. If you are a woman under 5'7" or a man under 5'9" and not very active, eating 1/2 of a bar for each snack is sufficient. If you are over these heights or are extremely active, eat 1 whole bar for each of your snacks. One of these bars should be consumed within 1 hour of going to bed. This provides your body with a perfectly balanced snack that will supply consistent energy while you sleep. As you become more comfortable with the Zone way of eating, you can begin substituting snacks from the Zone snack guide in place of the bars. Of course, there is nothing wrong with using the bars on a continuing basis. I often still do myself.
There are over 25 Zone Perfect snacks listed in your guide. Try to keep some readily available at all times. Some of our favorites are peanuts or almonds, tuna or chicken salad, or something even easier like fruit and cheese.
That's it for the hand method. Your hand is the only reference tool needed to get you into the zone. It's that simple. Now, let's move to the third part, the quality of what you eat. Over the last 50 and especially the last 25 years, there has been a tremendous change in the quality of our food supply. Some of these changes have exacted a terrible price from the American population, evident by the rapid rise in obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and asthma. Many of these illnesses are exacerbated by subtle and some not so subtle changes in our food supply. The following recommendations will counteract some of these changes and maximize the Zone Nutrition Program benefits. Your absolute best protein source is fish, especially non-farm-raised fish from cold waters. Fish from cold waters such as Pacific salmon, mackerel, and Norwegian sardines contain essential omega-3 oils not readily found elsewhere. Besides fish, egg whites and soy are also excellent protein sources. The proliferation of manufactured carbohydrates has contributed to many undesirable health problems. As little as 25 years ago, foods like pasta and bagels were not a staple of many Americans' diets. Unfortunately, as a result of the high carbohydrate, low-fat diet craze that swept our nation, and which continues to be practiced, these foods became dietary fixtures. It's mistakenly believed that eating low-fat or fat-free foods will not make you fat. This is a major fallacy. When the Zone diet was first published, it was this single statement that caused the most controversy. Several studies have since been published substantiating what Dr. Sears had the foresight to realize. Let's look at why this is true. Every time we eat, food triggers a response from our bodies. Depending on the quantity and the quality of the meal, it will either be used to meet our immediate nutritional needs or be stored for future use. The determining factor is the amount of the hormone insulin that is secreted. Now, hormones are chemicals secreted by our body in response to events. We've all experienced the hormone adrenaline after jamming on the brakes of our car to avoid hitting something. Insulin is another hormone. It is secreted in response to certain foods. Many of you already know of insulin, either because you or someone close to you has diabetes. You know that it has something to do with regulating your blood sugar, and you are partially correct. Insulin is a survival hormone. It plays a critical role as a storage hormone and helped keep our species alive in earlier times. In those days, a meal on a given day was not guaranteed. When food was plentiful, such as after a kill, prehistoric man tended to overeat, to beef up, so to speak. Insulin is secreted in response to extra calories, directing our bodies to store these calories as fat for later use. Without insulin, the extra calories would have been flushed out of prehistoric man. In modern America, food is plentiful and available any time of the day. From fast food restaurants and convenience stores on just about every corner, to the food vending machines in offices, airports, and hospitals. Americans are constantly encouraged to eat and overeat. And the ever-present insulin is still there, directing our bodies to store this excess food as fat. The macronutrient or food class that stimulates the largest amount of insulin secretion is carbohydrate. Remember, carbohydrates are sugars, and any food composed primarily of sugar greatly increases the secretion of insulin. On the other hand, dietary fat has little or no effect on insulin secretion. The second thing you must be aware of is that insulin will direct your body to convert any excess carbohydrate sugars into body fat. It's beginning to make sense, isn't it? And now you understand why the Zone Nutrition Program works so well. Two things in carbohydrates affect the amount of insulin secreted: the amount of sugar and the amount of fiber. If there is a lot of sugar and little or no fiber, pasta is a good example, then your blood sugar rises very rapidly and insulin is strongly secreted. If you eat more than a small amount of pasta at any given time, the secreted insulin directs your body to convert the excess sugar into body fat. And you can probably guess where this fat is stored. That's right, despite having little or no dietary fat in it, a processed carbohydrate like pasta or a bagel strongly stimulates your body to store and convert it into fat. In addition to increasing your weight, these rapid swings in blood sugar levels cause changes in your mood, your ability to concentrate, and your energy levels. Now you know why, after a big bowl of pasta, you're sleepy in about an hour and long for a nap. Are the pieces of the puzzle starting to become clear? Is it any wonder that all those years you were fighting to reduce your weight by eating a high-carbohydrate, low-fat diet were an exercise in futility? Foods that are unprocessed and high in fiber, most fruits and vegetables, have markedly different effects on insulin. Its secretion is controlled and remains at healthy levels. Without the constant overstimulation of insulin, you lose body fat, remain alert, and have increased energy. That's the beauty of the Zone program and of being in the zone. And finally, let's talk about fat. The type and quality of dietary fat recommended for use in the Zone Nutrition Program is very important. In fact, it forms a major cornerstone. Much of Icotech's continuing research revolves around the use of fat as a component of a healthy diet and its role in regulating the metabolism of food. As I have mentioned, fat plays a role in slowing down the absorption of a meal as well as signaling your brain to stop eating. But the specific type of fat consumed plays a critical role in your health. Currently, there are 4 types of fat. Saturated fat comes mainly from animal sources. Examples are the fat on a piece of meat, lard, or butter. It is an important building block for hormones like estrogen and testosterone. Polyunsaturated fats are the most diverse group and contain the 2 essential dietary fats required for life. These 2 oils are known as omega-3 and omega-6 essential fats. Omega-6 fats, more properly called oils, are everywhere, especially the vegetable oils used for cooking and baking. But omega-3 oils are suffering the opposite fate. In fact, the amount of this fat in our diet is reaching critically low levels. About 100 years ago, Americans were getting approximately 1,500 milligrams of omega-3 oil daily. This has decreased to less than 100 milligrams a day. That's less than 10% of the amount you were getting 100 years ago. Omega-3 oils are critical for nerve and brain development and function. They are vital for a healthy immune system, and they protect against heart disease and hardening of the arteries. The group with the biggest need for omega-3s are newborns due to their rapidly growing brain and nervous systems. Interestingly enough, breast milk is not only rich in omega-3 oils, but is a perfect Zone meal. Perhaps Mother Nature is telling us something. Yet because of changes in our food supply, these once ubiquitous oils are now almost absent. Icotech was one of the first companies to fully realize the need for these crucial oils. In fact, the Zone Perfect Nutrition Bar is the only bar on the market that contains omega-3 oils. Unfortunately, with the current state of our food supply, dietary supplementation is the only practical way of re-achieving levels of this fat in our daily diet. In order to guarantee an adequate amount of omega-3 fats, you need to add fish oils to your diet. 6 1,000 milligram capsules are recommended each day. How many you take at any given time is not critical, but you must take them with food to assure proper absorption in the body. Unfortunately, not all oil capsules are alike. Zone Perfect capsules contain only molecularly distilled fish oils free of all PCBs and heavy metal. Each capsule contains the highest amount of natural vitamin E, an essential vitamin to take when using these oils. Zone Perfect oils are 100% natural oils, not the cheaper, chemically altered oils found in other products. The third type of oil is monounsaturated. This type of fat is commonly associated with olive oil. It has an important role in the Zone Nutrition Program and is the only oil recommended for use in cooking and salads. In fact, research shows olive oil helps lower cholesterol and has been used for centuries as part of the healthy Mediterranean diet. Its unique properties make it a Zone dietary staple. By using it exclusively for cooking needs, you will automatically reduce the intake of commonly used omega-6 polyunsaturated oils. Excessive consumption of these polyunsaturated vegetable oils is associated with an increased incidence of diabetes, skin disorders, and decreases in HDL, the good portion of cholesterol. The fourth and last type of fat is not naturally occurring. This oil goes by several names, but most commonly is called a trans fatty acid or partially hydrogenated oil. This is oil created by the food industry, designed to elongate the shelf life of their processed food. It is produced from natural oil by a chemical process using nickel and steam under high pressure. Sounds pretty ugly, doesn't it? Well, it is. The resulting product is an oil totally foreign to our bodies. So foreign it gums up the chemical reactions in our cells. Currently, this extremely dangerous oil is banned in certain products in Europe. Margarine and many processed snacks are examples of products containing large amounts of partially hydrogenated oil. Even small amounts of this oil used daily, approximately 4 tablespoons worth, have been shown to increase the incidence of heart disease in women by 35%. This oil must be avoided at all costs. Eliminating hydrogenated oil and trans fatty acids is an essential part of the Zone Nutrition Program. When shopping, be sure to check food labels, and if it's listed, put the item back.
Preparing a Zone Perfect meal starts with having the proper ingredients on hand. Let's join Dr. Carl as he shows us how easy it is to shop in the Zone.
You can make your life a lot easier in the Zone just by altering your shopping habits slightly. But before we go inside the market to show you how to do this, I have to stress one important rule, and that is, don't shop if you're hungry. If you fortify yourself with a good Zone meal or snack prior to shopping, then you'll be less tempted by the hundreds, if not thousands, of highly refined, ready-to-eat carbohydrates ready to take you out of the Zone. If you're pressed for time, then simply have half a Zone bar prior to shopping. All set? Let's go. Most of the food you need to help you stay in the Zone can be bought by shopping the periphery of the average supermarket in America. In fact, if you start shopping on the outside aisle, work your way around, and work back to this point, I guarantee you 90% of the food needs to help you stay in the Zone will have been met before you actually have to venture into what I call carbohydrate hell. Now, fruits and vegetables are the best place to start, since this is the level right above water on the Zone pyramid. So what I recommend to you is to buy what looks good, load up, and then proceed onward. Although fresh fruits and vegetables form the basis for the most favorable carbohydrates in the Zone Nutrition Program, you can get the same beneficial effects using frozen or canned vegetables. So if fresh vegetables aren't available, or if you actually prefer the convenience of frozen foods, just choose wisely. Choose the broccoli, the cauliflower, over the sweet carbohydrates like carrots, and you'll get the same beneficial effects on insulin by using either fresh vegetables or the frozen vegetables. So let's load up on some broccoli, and then we'll proceed to the dairy section, which is an important source of protein for the Zone Nutrition Program.
The dairy case provides a wealth of ready-to-eat protein sources. Remember that all zone meals and snacks must begin with protein. So by choosing wisely, the dairy case can be a big friend in helping you locate these low-fat protein sources. The problem with many of the cheeses in the dairy department is that many are labeled low-fat or reduced fat, but in reality actually have quite a lot of fat in them. The key to finding the proper cheeses to choose in the zone diet is by looking at the label and zoning them like we taught you in lesson 2. Then you'll be able to choose wisely amongst the many low-fat, reduced-fat, or zero-fat cheese products. The second most important ingredient in the dairy food case is the cottage cheese section. Cottage cheese, if it contains fruit, is basically a zone-perfect snack all by itself. It has the proper 40% carbohydrate, 30% protein, and 30% fat. But the key is buying the cottage cheese with fruit in it and one that has 4% milk fat. And this is listed right on the front label. If you prefer to add fat to your cottage cheese in the form of nuts, which a lot of people prefer to do, then buy the skim milk brand of cottage cheese and then add the appropriate fat blocks in the form of nuts if you want to. And the third ingredient that becomes very important from the dairy section is milk products. The milk that we prefer you to use is 1% or 2% milk. This will provide the perfect 40-30-30 balance in protein, carbohydrate, and fat needed for a perfect zone snack. Continuing on the outside of the supermarket, we come to the frozen food section. The frozen food section can be a great aid for those whose hectic lifestyle make it difficult to stay in the zone. In fact, if you find it too difficult to buy, clean, and chop fresh vegetables, there's nothing wrong with choosing the appropriate, favorable carbohydrates from the frozen food section. Here's a good example. This bag of broccoli and cauliflower are perfect, favorable carbohydrates. If you turn it around and look at the label in the back and remember how to zone food labels, you'll see that this whole bag contains exactly 2 blocks of zone favorable carbohydrates. So this is an easy and excellent addition to your shopping list. Right behind me is another important section of the frozen food area, and this is the frozen TV dinner area. Believe it or not, if you zone these by looking at the labels, you'll come across many examples of perfect 3-block zone meals with nothing added, nothing that you have to do to them. Another excellent source for protein is the deli and fish section of your local supermarket. As you remember, fish is the absolute best source of protein on the zone diet, especially fish that has dark flesh, such as salmon.
Hi, may I help you?
Yes, can I have a pound of sliced turkey? And could you, every quarter of a pound, put some wax paper in between to separate them? Thanks. Now, the deli section provides an excellent source of ready-to-eat protein in the form of sliced deli meats. Remember the rule of thumb. A quarter of a pound of deli meat equals about 3 blocks of protein. So if you're really nice to the person working behind the deli counter and ask her to separate each quarter pound with some wax paper, you'll be able to reach into the refrigerator at any time and grab a perfect 3-block source of protein. And of course, don't forget to look for zone bars when checking out.
To illustrate the dramatic effect the Zone Nutrition program can have on ordinary people like yourself, I'd like to share some of the impressive highlights from our San Antonio, Texas clinical trials. I taught this program at one of the largest physician-owned practices in the city. The results of these trials are dramatic and were published in the journal Diabetes, supplemental edition, May 1998.
The 3 San Antonio clinic trials were the first to use the Zone Nutrition program in large, diverse groups. Many participants were patients with diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. Others desired to increase their energy level for work and recreational activities. Patients' spouses were also encouraged to attend and learn the same diet. The results of all 3 clinical trials showed a 20% decrease in serum triglycerides, recently recognized as a major risk factor for heart disease and stroke. HDL cholesterol, the good portion of cholesterol, increased by 10%. Higher levels of HDL help prevent stroke and heart disease. A 10% decrease in fasting blood sugar and a 7% decrease in average blood sugar levels over a 3-month period. Patients were also able to reduce the amount of prescription medication they were taking by 50%. Remember, you must consult your physician before making any changes to your medication. And finally, a healthy weight loss of 6 pounds over the 12 weeks.
There you have it, the whole Zone diet plus 2 of the important parts of the Zone Nutrition program. As you begin to apply these principles, using the techniques we discussed, these 3 distinct pieces of the Zone Nutrition program fall into place. The final piece of the program is exercise. The benefits of exercise have been pounded into our heads for the last 20 years, and many have indeed attempted to incorporate exercise into their lifestyles. Far more, though, continue to avoid exercise despite knowing and believing it to be good for them. Many equate exercise with joining a gym and being self-conscious around all those well-toned bodies. Others think about the drudgery of lifting weights or the boring repetition inherent in some forms of exercise. But one of the best things about the Zone Nutrition program is the increased energy you begin to feel right away. This energy boost makes the thought of exercising far more appealing. By harnessing the power of food, not only do people experience increases in energy and stamina, but often require less sleep to feel truly rested. But you don't have to join a gym or buy designer running shorts to get the benefits of exercise. A recent study showed the remarkable effects of simply walking. And this brings up an important point. Decreasing periods of inactivity can be extremely beneficial and has been shown to be an effective way to get children to lose weight. Easy things like taking a couple flights of stairs rather than the elevator at the office, a leisurely walk during lunchtime or after dinner, bowling instead of watching TV, all add up over the course of the day. The key reason increased activity leads to weight loss and improved health is not simply the use of more calories, but its ability to lower the levels of insulin in your body. Combine that with the Zone Nutrition program that is designed to control insulin secretion, and you have a powerful tool for optimal health. In addition to increasing your activity, maintaining muscle strength is also important, especially as we age. Studies now show that loss of muscle strength is not an inevitable part of the aging process. Once again, this doesn't require you to join a gym. These simple exercises go a long way in helping you stay in shape. Push-ups and slow, deep knee bends are both effective ways for maintaining upper and lower body strength using your own weight. They can be done without any special equipment. They can be done anywhere and at any time. Now, if you don't feel that you can do a push-up right from the get-go or a slow, deep knee bend, I'm going to show you a graduated program to build up your fitness level. With a slow, deep knee bend, this will be the final position we're aiming for. Arms out front, a slow seated position, and then upright. Now, to build up to that position, we're going to use a chair with 2 arms on it. Sit in the chair and using your arms, push up until you're standing. And then repeat, push up, and stand. When you feel comfortable that you can do 3 sets of 10, then we're going to move to the next level. The next level involves using the same chair, but without using the arms. Cross your arms in front of you and stand. Repeat and stand. Once again, working up to 3 sets of 10. When you feel comfortable being able to do that, then let's try a classic slow, deep knee bend. Arms out in front of you, slow seated position. Hold it for a second. This really builds up the muscle. And then stand upright. Once you can do 3 sets of 10 of those, that will be your daily maintenance regimen. Now, the classic push-up requires you to do the push-ups on the floor. Using the same graduated program, I'll show you how to get into that position. The first position that we use to do a classic push-up is what we call a push-away using the wall. Let's go to the wall now and I'll show you that position. To begin your push-aways, stand facing the wall about 3 feet away. Place your hands on the wall, shoulder width apart, keep your back straight, and lean into it. All the way, and then slowly push away, and repeat. When you feel comfortable doing 3 sets of 10, Then we'll graduate to the next position. Once you feel comfortable doing your 3 sets of 10 of pushaways using the wall, we're going to graduate to a somewhat lower surface, like this desk or a sturdy table at home. To get in the proper position, once again, keep your hands shoulder width apart, and you're going to lean into the desk by actually moving your feet away, keeping your back straight at all times. Once in position, lean into the desk as deep as you can go, and slowly push up. Repeat, and once again, keep your back straight. When you can safely and comfortably do 3 sets of 10 of this, you're ready to move into the classic position of a push-up using the floor. By doing 3 sets of 10 of your push-ups, 3 sets of 10 of your deep knee bends on a daily basis, that's all you need to do to maintain both your upper and lower body strength.
As you begin to follow the simple guidelines presented in this program, you will probably wonder how long it will take to see the results. While everyone is different, many people begin to see results almost immediately, often within the first 2 weeks. The Zone Nutrition Program gives you the powerful tools you need to help maximize permanent fat loss, increase your energy and mental alertness, slow the signs of aging, lower cholesterol, and become less disease-prone. Improving your health is an ongoing and continuous process. Some people will take longer than others to achieve these results. Just stick to the easy-to-follow techniques Dr. Call has presented, and the extraordinary benefits of the Zone Nutrition Program will be yours for a lifetime. Using the hand method assures that you will get the proper amount of nutrients with each meal. The size and thickness of the palm of your hand equals the size and thickness of your protein source for each meal. If you choose favorable carbohydrates, such as green beans or broccoli, you're allowed 2 large, loose fists full. If you choose unfavorable carbohydrates, such as potatoes or pasta, you should eat 1 tight fist worth. The amount of fat added to your meals can be estimated by the size of your thumbnail. That's about 1 teaspoon of olive oil or a small slice of butter. And finally, your hand reminds you to eat 5 times a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 snacks. Now, let's review what a typical day in the Zone might look like. Begin with breakfast by eating either 1 Zone Perfect Nutrition bar or a Zone Perfect Nutrition drink within an hour of waking. For lunch, have either a ready-to-eat Zone Perfect meal or prepare a meal from the recipe section of your Zone guide. Or you could also choose a Zone-favorable fast food selection. Later in the afternoon, have 1/2 of a Zone Perfect bar or half of a Zone Perfect Nutrition drink as a snack. For dinner, once again, have either a ready-to-eat Zone Perfect meal or prepare a meal from your recipe guide. And just before bedtime, have 1/2 of a Zone Perfect bar or half of a Zone Perfect drink to keep you in the zone while you sleep.
As you have just seen, the Zone Nutrition Program revolves around what you eat, how you eat, and the quality of the food you eat. As you begin to use these powerful new techniques, you will indeed enjoy all of the benefits of being in the zone.
Now you know everything you need to begin creating a healthier you. Start by adopting the Zone diet, using your hand to measure the proper amounts of protein, carbohydrate, and fat for each meal. Then reduce the use of polyunsaturated oils by changing your dietary fat consumption to the exclusive use of olive oil. And don't forget the importance of achieving adequate levels of omega-3 fats by supplementing your diet with 6 omega-3 fish oil capsules daily. Finally, increase your level of physical activity by starting with walking and the easy strength-building exercises Dr. Call demonstrated. These simple changes will have a major impact on your health, both today and in the future. If you have any questions or wish to purchase Zone Perfect products, please call us at the number on your screen. Additional information and product ordering is also conveniently available on Icotech's website, zoneperfect.com.